For some, it's a big day in college football. For others, well, a lot of the country, it's a sleeper game. It's small games. It's FCS opponents. It's smaller football teams playing massive football teams so they can get that payout. It's according to who you pull for. And today, I'm going to talk about that. First, welcome to the channel. Glad you're hanging out with me. Right now, I am simulcasting on both my channels. Of course, my Clemson channel. Then on the other hand, another college football podcast where I talk about college football as a whole. If you're watching my Clemson channel, that link is right below this video. So I hope you'll go over there, subscribe. It is free, and I hope you'll subscribe to this channel and pass it along to all your friends on Facebook, the forums, etc. I do appreciate it. Again, that's free. So let's dive into the bigger games. Oh, okay. For my Clemson fans, we're playing Furman today. Okay, Furman's coming out of Greenville, the whole Travelers Rest area. They're going to play Clemson. Clemson's a 41.5 favorite or something like that. The line's probably moved, but folks, if you're keeping up with the line on Furman and Clemson, bless you. Bless you. I appreciate your dedication to correcting me on that line. Yeah, that's dedication or insanity. I don't know. But with that said, Clemson playing Furman today. They win the ball game. Most likely they will. We know what's going to happen. Clemson will be bowl eligible. They're 4-4 in the ACC. So if they win today, guarantee they will not have a losing regular season record. They'll play South Carolina next week. South Carolina plays Coastal Carolina in Columbia today. That's an interesting game. Coastal Carolina started off the season they just didn't look good. And they have not looked like the Jamie Chadwell, Grayson McCall before he got injured team. That was a really good football team. That was a really good story in college football. If you love college football as a whole, you love that story. Unfortunately, that's not what's marching into Columbia today. So I think that the Chanticleers stands a little more of a chance against South Carolina than Furman does against Clemson. With that said, I see the Gamecocks winning that game and setting their sights on Clemson. Clemson just win the ball game today, and you'll be bowl eligible. And which for me, y'all know my opinion. I'm not even worried about that anymore. We have other people who has so quickly went from, oh, this is a team that's a contender to, oh, if we can just get bowl eligible. I don't know. To each their own. So that's what's going on in the state of South Carolina for all of my Clemson football fan followers. Blah 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 blah. Let's talk about college football as a whole today. Again, as I said, there's a lot of really, really small games, and I'm not even going to preview these. I'm just going to name them out to you so you can hear how bad it is. We have Samford playing at Texas A&M. Of course, next weekend is the post-Thanksgiving Day rivalry games. Texas A&M, games like that. I mean, it's a big deal. But right now, you have these Samford 1-10 playing at 10-0. Texas A&M. You have Charlotte playing at Georgia. Who is that? Is that Eastern Illinois playing at? I'm clicking in. Yeah, Eastern Illinois playing at Alabama. I mean, it's games like that left and right. We have a really rough UK team, Kentucky team playing against Vanderbilt. So I mean, there's these really, really mundane games going on. But let's get to the big ones. This one I'm going to start off for us Clemson fans. Our ACC championship hopes ended a long time ago, unfortunately for us. But a team that has stood the test of time, for this season has been Georgia Tech. We know them very well. They beat us with that walk-off field goal. That was an incredible kick. Time's running down. That snap could have been botched. You go back to that, there was a lot of discipline there. Georgia Tech only has one loss, and it's to a schizophrenic NC State team. I call them schizophrenic because one minute they're beating Georgia Tech. 1 minute they're beating Virginia. The two teams at the very top of the ACC at this very moment. And then the next minute, NC State's getting throttled by someone. And it's like, which is it? But Georgia Tech, 6-1 in the ACC, 9-1 overall, playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is actually going to Atlanta. They're 7-3, 5-1 in the ACC. You're like, okay, I hear one conference loss. Make this a little more clear for me. I'm glad you asked. Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pittsburgh, and SMU are in a four-way tie with one loss in the ACC. So Georgia Tech right now and Pittsburgh, someone's coming out of this game with a loss. Get this, Pittsburgh's only a 2.5-point favorite. Or not 2.5-point favorite, a 2.5-point underdog going into Georgia Tech. Now, they changed their quarterback. They had a guy that they got out of Alabama a couple of seasons ago, and they replaced him. They replaced him with freshman Mason Henschel, forgive me. And he replaced Eli Holstein, a guy out of Alabama. This guy took over and since then has done outrageously well. I mean, it's the reason that you see a resurgence in Pittsburgh, and they're 5-1 in the ACC. Get this. Most likely the winner of this game, Georgia, excuse me, if Georgia Tech wins this ball game, they've punched their ticket to Charlotte because this is their last conference game. Pittsburgh has to play Miami next week. All right. So Pittsburgh would already have one loss. If Georgia Tech wins this game, they are as good as in. Now, Virginia is off this week. They play Virginia Tech next week. Of course, Virginia Tech just hired James Franklin out of Penn State after everything that went on there. The interesting thing about Virginia is had they not lost to Wake Forest, they'd already be in. No question about it. Look at the other team that has one conference loss. They're playing today at 12 o'clock at Louisville. It's SMU. They have two conference games left. What would make everything really easy is for SMU to drop a game, Pittsburgh to drop a game, and then you're going to have Georgia Tech versus Virginia. Oh, 90s matchup. That would be early 90s, late 80s matchup. The key to this game for Georgia Tech, and I'm telling you this with Pittsburgh coming in. Pittsburgh is playing pretty well. They did get tore up by Notre Dame, by the way. Pat Narduzzi said, listen, I don't care if Notre Dame beats us basically by 100 points. All we have to do is win the next two games, and I feel confident we're in. We're in the ACC championship. You get to the ACC championship. You win that game, you're in the college football playoff. Excuse me. Now, let's talk about this. Pittsburgh played Notre Dame, got beat by 22 points. Well, that doesn't mean anything. It does mean something if for some reason you do win out. You win the ACC and then you go to college football playoff, you'll get throttled. You'll absolutely get throttled. And if the ACC doesn't want egg on its face, I trust Georgia Tech in a college football playoff more than I do Pittsburgh. But with all that said, it doesn't matter what I think or you think or even the teams think. It matters the result of this game. Tonight, 7 o'clock on ESPN, you need to clear your calendar. You need to watch that game. I know I'll be watching. The key to this game is focus for Georgia Tech. Focus, 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 focus. Haynes King, there is absolutely no question if this game comes down to Haynes King. That's kind of like a duh. Kind of like a duh statement. That's like saying, oh man, if the car doesn't have fuel in it, we're going nowhere. That's the same here. So Haynes King has to come in and he has to have a big game. He has to stay on top of things. They cannot turn the ball over. And here's the thing with their defense. Georgia Tech's defense is going to have to get some stops against Pittsburgh. And when given the chance to score a touchdown or a field goal, you're going to have to score touchdowns. You allow Pittsburgh to hang around, Pat Narduzzi is going to be smiling on the sideline. And you know what's going to happen? They'll win the ball game in Atlanta. Georgia Tech will be out of it. And then it'll come down to Virginia, Pittsburgh, and SMU. And I'm going to tell you right now, for the sake of the ACC, and I'm not a big conference guy. For the sake of the ACC, Georgia Tech is the best option to go into the college football playoff if you're going to have a representative, and you will if you win the ACC, and actually be competitive. I trust Brent Key way more than I do anyone else in this conference to get their team currently ready for the ACC, for not only the ACC championship, but for the college football playoff. That's where I'm at. Remember last year we had two teams from the ACC make it into the college football playoff. And they both lost by at least 2 touchdowns. And one of those losses were celebrated as a win. So if you're someone who looks at the conference and you get sick and tired of getting, little jabs thrown at you throughout the year, you better be praying that Georgia Tech wins this ball game and is the representative in the college football playoff, because I'm not saying they wouldn't get beat by a lot of points. I'm saying they stand the best chance of being competitive. Out of all the teams, I tell you right now, I know Virginia is doing what they're doing, and it's a good story. And as Clemson fans, we appreciate Tony and stuff. But I am telling you, you get Virginia into the college football playoff, it's not going to be pretty. You get Pittsburgh in there. They just showed you what they would do against a team with 2 losses at the very beginning of the season, and they're on a 7-game win streak, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a good football team. They're not Georgia. Georgia would massacre most of the ACC, and I'm not sold on Georgia. Georgia Tech has the grit, the firepower, and the coaching to at least make it competitive. So this game, a lot rides on this game for not only the teams involved, but for the conference as a whole, and then the perception of the conference. I'm going to pick Georgia Tech to win this ball game. I think they'll cover the 2.5 points. But Pittsburgh definitely could win this ball game. And you would ask, okay, so why would you say all that about Georgia Tech and then be concerned about Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh gets worked up to play certain games. And I think right now, Georgia Tech, one of their biggest problems is focus. A lot of teams right now, they get into November, they come in with 1 loss or no loss. Their biggest problem, focus. At this time, you've seen a lot of teams who had great expectation in the preseason already fell apart and their season is done. Clemson, LSU, Penn State, Texas, Florida. Florida, a lot of people didn't expect that much out of Florida. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is that there was a lot of teams that by the time they got to know, good grief, some of them by the time they got to mid-October, they knew their season was at 2025 was already a wash. And then you're having to pivot to loser slogans of, hey guys, we're still a team, we still have a lot to play for, and I know our initial goal, let's go on and stuff. You're having to pivot to that. If you're pivoting to that by the time you get to mid-October, you've got problems, massive problems. If you get to November and you're undefeated, you get to November and you have 1 loss, according to who that loss is to and what it's like, at this point, you're just trying to stay focused, especially with this new 12-team format. Georgia Tech right now, their biggest problem, to me, stares them in the mirror. Everyone has to be focused. The game plan must be focused. The adjustments must be focused. And I say this about every coaching staff. And I'm a fan of Brent Key. I think what he's done there is just ridiculous. Taking over Georgia Tech and the academic standards and all these things that works against Georgia Tech. He comes out, he's 9-1, 6-1 in the conference. And while you have other college football teams with a lot of money being poured into them and or history over the past 15 years of winning maybe a championship or maybe being a really good football team, and their coaches goes up to the microphone and they give more excuses than a 13-year-old boy caught with a pack of cigarettes, necking with his girlfriend. I said naked, not naked. Making out with his girlfriend in the Sunday school room. More excuses than that. Georgia Tech's coach is not doing that. Georgia Tech's coach is doing a pretty doggone good job. But here's the thing. Brent Key has to keep these guys focused. And that's one of the biggest games of the day. Get into the comments section. Will Man's in here. Simple Man. Good to see you, my friend. Nicholas Powell. It's good to see you. Austin, 1619. Good to see you, my friend. Jackson, good to see you in here as well. KDJ, good to see you. All right, let's get back here. Let's talk about one of the other massive game of the day. This is a really big game. This hits home for Clemson. This is funny for us Clemson fans. Both of these games hit close to home for us. You have Georgia Tech. Why? It's the closest ACC school to us. Go right down Interstate 85. Boom, there you are. Georgia Tech. This other game is because of a former coach. We have Brent Venables, 8-2, ranked number 8 in the country. Coming off the big win against Alabama. 12 o'clock on ABC. The game will be kicking off before you know it. About an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. Missouri, 7-3. A team that did not have a ton of expectation coming into this season. They had lost some talent. Missouri is not an Ohio State or a Georgia or one of these big teams that just has tons of money pouring into it. By the way, someone's going to go into the comment section and go, huh, you have no clue. There's a lot of money going in Missouri. I'll get that all the time. There's a lot of money going into fill in the blank school. And what's so funny is you can go look up who are the which schools has so much money being poured into its collectives, NIL, donor, all that bunch of good stuff. And that school is nowhere to be mentioned. I just had a feeling. Maybe it's heartburn. I just know it's coming. You have no clue. They've got Bilbo Boggins. Bilbo Boggins, he owns a largest transfer truck company in Missouri. Bilbo loves Missouri Tigers football. He pours tons of money into it. Read a book. Have you ever heard of a search bar to look up stuff? Yeah, Missouri. Missouri's 7-3. They've actually had a pretty good season compared to what everyone thought. And Eli Drinkwitz can coach. That's it. Eli Drinkwitz can coach. He takes over bad situations. He makes them into good situations. Okay? That's what he does. He comes into this game 7-3. Now, here's the thing. He doesn't have his regular quarterback. I know he's updated to questionable, but Pribula got hurt against Vanderbilt, and his body contorted in such a way. Have you ever been watching a game and you don't even have a dog in the fight? Maybe you don't even like the team. I have no problem with Missouri. I'm not a fan, but I have no problem with them. And so you're watching Missouri play Vanderbilt, and you watch their quarterback get bent in such a way, and you feel bad for him. I got nauseous. I didn't puke, but it was like, oh Lord, I can't watch that again. That's what happened to him. He is marked as questionable. I doubt he's going to play today. They put him out there. They you know, well, a competitor wants to play. Yeah. If a competitor is one good sneeze away from a wheelchair, you probably should not put him out there. Say no. Just say no. Sometimes the right answer is no. Will it hurt them? Okay, great. He's going to be even more hurt if this Oklahoma defense gets hold of him. He'll have peg legs, and his biggest concern in life will be termites. I don't think that you need to put him out there. The key for Brent Venables and his team at 8-2 is what I said about Brent Key. Focus. You come off this big win against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Alabama's been rolling. They went to Georgia. They beat Georgia. Only head-scratching loss they have is that very first game against Florida State. By the way, did you see that Florida State-NC State game last night? Oh, good grief. Florida State muffed 2 punts in a row. It's almost like someone's being paid to be bad. It's that bad. It's almost like someone is being paid to throw games. And before anyone goes, how dare you? It's been proven time and time again by now that everyone from coaches to players to officials will throw a flipping ball game. Don't you dare. I'm not saying that about Florida State completely, but I tell you this, you could take some of those same players, meet up with them right now, punt a ball, run towards them, and they'd catch it all day long, trash talk you here and there. I just don't buy that a team could be that bad. I just don't buy it. And I'm not saying the young man who muffed the punt. I'm saying that someone would just, I don't know. I said too much there, and I'm not knocking the young man who just kept muffing the ball last night. But it comes down to, you wonder if a coach sent him out there on purpose, knowing that maybe his head's not in the game. They did it on, I don't know. I did not say Norvell. I said a coach. This is what, and I'm going to pause. Okay, this is time for a rant. It's time for the airing of the grievances. I used to play a clip of Costanza airing the grievances. I don't have that anymore. But I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this. When we talk about coaches at any school, who do we always start with? We always start with the head coach. Well, that's because he's the head coach. Do you realize that the head coach only has so much power? Now, it's the ultimate power to hire and fire. But when a coach hires someone to do a job and they don't do that job, it is ultimately up to the coach to replace that guy with someone who is qualified. Now, this is something that a lot of people really don't understand. And this is something that a lot of people don't want to accept. Here in Clemson, when you criticize the coaching staff, what is the first thing that happens from Clemson fans? Oh, you mean you want to fire Dabo? And you see these rednecks poke their chest out. They're ready to fight. They've never met Dabo a day in their life. Maybe at a meet and greet. Maybe they met him out on the town, shook his hand one time, and now they're besties with Dabo. No, you're not asking that Dabo be fired or demanding or anything like that. You're just saying, hey, it's probably time to make some changes on the coaching staff, right? As at wholesale. And people don't understand that. Norvell hired coaches, right? But the buck does stop with him, because you don't have the ability to fire someone, and I don't have the ability to fire and hire someone, but they do. So even though you're not calling for them to be hired, you're calling for them to act. So anyway, I just wanted to pause and define that, because so many fans, and you can read through my comment section, you go to other comment section, you can go to forums, you can go, whatever it is, your favorite team, and quickly you'll realize that the fans don't understand that. Let's take Josh Heupel, for instance, up at Tennessee. Josh Heupel's going to have to do something about his defense. He's going to have to bring in a defensive coordinator who absolutely has blood in his mouth and will shut down the opposing team. I predict this, Tennessee fans, if Josh Heupel gets a killer defensive coordinator in there, don't be shocked if Tennessee wins the national championship in the next 5 years. Don't be shocked. But if Josh Heupel does not make the proper hire at defensive coordinator and then ensure that all the development under that defensive coordinator is not in the hands of qualified position coaches, Josh Heupel will always be this close to doing something good. All right, leave that there. Let's come back to Oklahoma. Oklahoma playing Missouri. The key for this game is for Oklahoma to stay focused. John Mateer is getting more and more healthy as the days go on, right? If you don't know that, he is. His hand was bleeding against Texas. He shouldn't have played against Texas. Well, it's the rivalry. Again, just say no. Just say no. I think they played Russian roulette that day. I love Brent Venables. Really appreciate the guy, what he's done. He's a Clemson legend. We're finding out more and more every day that he was majorly responsible for a lot of the success that Clemson had. I just lost a few people there. But Brent Venables has this team sitting in a place to where all they have to do today is win. They're a 6.5-point favorite. All they have to do is win today. You don't have to win big. You don't have to win small. You just have to, well, you do have to win small. You can win small and you're in. You're fine. Next week, you'll play LSU, a team that has, they always have a lot of talent. Have to remind LSU fans this. You always have a lot of talent. Talent at LSU has never been the problem. Never. The person standing on the sideline, that has been the Achilles heel. And so we have Oklahoma here. We have Missouri. This is a game that Eli Drinkwitz would look at and say, listen, I would love to beat Oklahoma in Norman. I would love to get win number 8 today. I would love to be the reason they don't make it to the college football playoff. This would, in fact, make me look good to do it without my starting quarterback. Oklahoma, whoever's playing quarterback out there, and by the way, I'm not talking about anything taking cheap shots, but folks, I know that some of you are going to be shocked. Football's supposed to be violent. That's the reason you're given a set of pads and a helmet. And I know the game gets more and more watered down every year. But you need to make whoever's playing quarterback feel more pressure than they've ever felt in their entire life. And we know Brent Venables will. And so I believe that they're going to actually go out there and take care of things as long as they stay focused. I see Oklahoma winning this game. Let's talk about another big game for us East Coast guys. We're looking at the West Coast and we're like, we just don't care. You have Southern Cal traveling to Oregon. 8-2 Southern Cal traveling to 9-1 Oregon. The only loss they have is Indiana. It's really interesting. Indiana being, who they are and doing what they've been doing. It's crazy. Going into this game, a lot of people is asking themselves, hey, can USC play their way into the college football playoff? On the other hand, you're looking at Oregon going, hey, you have one loss. It's to Indiana, one of the hottest teams in all of college football. All you have to do is go in and win today. That's it. Just win. Win by 3 points. Okay, it's a win. You'll be fine. I expect Oregon to win this game. It's in Oregon. It's in Eugene. They're a 10-point favorite-ish. The key, again, focus. November is the month of focus. Can you focus? Can you overcome hearing about how good you are? Can you overcome even the pressure and the expectation that people may have for you now? And I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of people, I found this out in life, they absolutely hate expectation. They despise expectation. I'm talking about not only football teams, I'm talking about in life in general. People hate expectation. Why? Because it creates pressure. And there are people who folds under the pressure of expectation. When I say the expectation is actually a compliment. The day I stop expecting something of you is the day that I look at you and say they have absolute either they're incapable of meeting expectation, or they have given up, and that's all they do. They give, oh, don't expect anything of me. I'll fold like a lawn chair. Or they're just lazy. But where the cream rises to the top, and the cream will rise at different rates. I've seen people, whether it's in everyday life or whether it's football teams, it may take them longer to rise to the top than others. But they will fight. They have that competitive edge. They will allow their character to shine through, while other people, whether it's in everyday life or whether it's a team, the moment that you have expectation for them, again, which is a compliment, they get uncomfortable, they get mad, they get upset, it proves a lot about their character. Proves a lot about their priorities. It proves a lot about their focus. It proves a lot about what really drives them. And in some scenarios, it proves that they're short-sighted. It also proves that in some cases they're selfish. In some cases, it proves that it really is all about them and their comfortability. So you get in here and you look at these teams, you get into the schedules, you're looking at the teams, you're looking at this weekend. Next weekend for most teams is rivalry weekend after Thanksgiving. By the way, happy early Thanksgiving. And what you will find and what you will see is the survival of the fittest who could just focus in the moment. Georgia's 9-1. They're playing Charlotte. Georgia's played close with about everybody except for Texas. Oh, they murdered Texas. If I was all that money down in Texas, just blow it. We got it to give away. Give me some. I can waste it. Please. Please give it to me. And don't do it through a super chat because YouTube will take 30% of it. No. Contact me privately. I'll take $2 million off your hands. I'll take $10 million off your hands, and I'll give you a return on investment about the same as your football team. I couldn't help myself there. Georgia, all they have to do today, beat Charlotte. Big deal. They'll do that with their fourth string and one of their cheerleaders. So which way am I supposed to run? That way. Imagine there's a Sephora or an Ulta on the other side of that end zone. Oh my God. Nah. Yes. All you have to do is run that way. Leading rusher in Georgia. $5'3", 115 pounds of nothing but cheerleading, makeup obsessed power. Driving down the field. That's what would happen. And then next week you play Georgia Tech. That's going to be a big game. That's going to be a big game. All right, folks, tell me what you think in the comment section below. Let me know, who do you think do I have it wrong? Am I right? Am I kind of indifferent? Go for it. That would be absolutely it's interesting to read some of the comments. Yesterday I did a show where I just read the comments and it spurred more comments. So I do want to answer. If you're sitting here at the 34-minute mark, most likely you'll be the only ones to hear this. Most people are not going to listen all the way through to the 34-minute mark. So everyone just buckle up for me. In fact, I'm going to try to address this comment from someone personally to respond to their comment. But I want to respond to a comment that deals with my Clemson channel. And it was a question / comment that someone left. And I think that this is a really good time for me to actually answer this here. Some of your takes are good, but in my opinion, you seem to attract opposing fan bases who like to rag on Clemson. Your comment sections are filled with the super critical Clemson people. It just gets a little tiring and makes me wonder what your motivations are for doing some of the videos. Um, there has been there was a response to that was I think pretty solid. I want to say this. When I talk about Clemson right now, what could I say? I mean, really. Well, I tell you this, our quarterback play has been top notch. You know, I love Cade. I've pulled for Cade. I've taken up for Cade probably about as much as his parents has, or second to his parents. I believe he was the most ill prepared quarterback by this coaching staff as anyone. At least DJ got some time behind Trevor Lawrence. At least he had some moments. DJ was not developed by this coaching staff. Well, that was DJ. Everybody loves to rag on DJ. Then you go to 6A Texas quarterback Cade Klubnik. Never lost in high school, playing at a higher level than most of you ever thought about playing if you played high school football. If his high school team marched into your high school, even if you played at one of the local really big schools here in the upstate of South Carolina and played you, they'd beat the crap out of you. You'd be like, oh my God, what is wrong? What happened? You wouldn't stand a chance. I mean, they'd burn your stadium down. They'd score so much. Somehow he's a bust. We have Vizina struggling. You notice something? Anyway, but I've taken up for Cade. Here's the deal. What can we say about Cade? Other than he loves Clemson and he seems like a decent dude. Cade is still missing wide open guys. Well, it comes back to development, but unfortunately, I have to talk about that. Our offensive line is led by a guru. And there's a lot of people who want Matt Luke gone. Well, Matt Luke is actually an offensive line guru. What does that say about your team when a guru takes over? He's in year 2, and guys who were projected to well, first they were said to be one of the top offensive lines in all of the country. Phil Steele said that. They can't block. Well, it's not Matt Luke. What am I supposed to say when our defense is taken over by, yet again, a guru? Tom Allen has a really good reputation as a defensive coach, has a really good reputation. He takes over at Clemson. You know, we're meeting guys in the backfield and can't wrap up, and tackles are being broke. What do I supposed to say? Listen, I'm not being a jerk here. I'm just literally asking, what do I supposed to say? There are brighter days to come. Well, again, not ragging on Coach Sweeney. I'm just saying if he only lets go of one coach, and I hate for anyone to be fired, I really do, there will be no better days to come. We're probably not going to go to the portal and go pick up the much needed players. I literally talk about what's actually happening. And trust me, it gets tiring for me too, because I'm going to have to say this. And again, I appreciate your comment. I've had comments from you before, and it's been good comments. Again, just because we live in a society where you can't disagree with someone or you can't rebut them, or else everybody gets mad. Thank you, HR departments, for that, by the way. HR departments and just people teaching, it's just human emotion being manipulated. So I get where you're coming from. Try running a Clemson channel. Try running a Clemson channel where you go to make a video and you go, well, that's okay. Hold on. Well, I'd have to lie to say that's good. Well, I wouldn't be very realistic if I said that. I just can't do a video today. Really? I just can't do a video. Oh, hold on. I can't do a video next week. Oh, there were no coaching changes? Oh, man, how am I supposed to spend this without lying? So, I say this to you, and I say this to the people who they get irritated with me, which, by the way, if you put yourself on the interwebs, people are going to take a shot at you anyway. There's always going to be someone who's not going to like you. There's always going to be someone who disagrees with you. You can't be a people pleaser. You have to be yourself within reason. And we should always try to improve. With that said, I just don't know what I'm supposed to say about Clemson other than lie. Oh, there's brighter days ahead for Clemson. Why do we say that? Well, it's just being hopeful. Well, what gives you hope? Well, so anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I just wanted to drop that there so everyone could hear that, because at the end of the day, my number one goal is not to trash anyone. My number one goal is not to lie to someone with optimism. My number one goal is to talk about the problem. Talk about not even the problem, to talk about what is currently going on. What is going on right now? And if it is bad and we don't like it, therein lies the problem. It's not that someone said there's a problem. It's that we're calling out the problem. So I just wanted to say that, and I'll probably respond in a comment. But folks, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's nothing really good to say about Clemson. There's not. And you can stick with your team and still tell the truth. You don't have to lie, folks. You don't have to lie. Being a good fan does not involve lying. It's actually quite the opposite. And that's a lesson in life as well. Folks, y'all take care of yourself. It's good to see you. I hope you take care of yourself. Hope you have a really good day. Check out some of these other football games. If you're going to the game today, I hope you'll be safe. It is going to be warm. It's kind of crazy the week before Thanksgiving, and here we are. But I'll catch you later on the Clemson side. Go Tigers. On the another college football podcast side. We'll catch you later.